Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to the Gecko Guild. Now that Monster Hunter Rise has been out for a while, there are a fair number of hunters reaching high rank for the first time. This can be daunting because it is at this point of your time in the game that armor sets and the skills they carry become much more prevalent. Prior to reaching high rank, I basically ignored the skills and resistances on armor, instead going for the most recent gear sets. However, hunts in high rank become far more demanding and difficult, and it becomes necessary to pay more attention to builds. Therefore, I wanted to make this guide for Sword and Shield users entering high rank for the first time to provide a more clear direction on which armor sets and weapons to pay attention to. Think of this build as an outline for you to work towards before you get to HR 100 and gain access to the Valstrax armor set. The build I'm showing you today is aptly named the Critical Slugger, and as its name suggests, it focuses on achieving high critical strike damage potential while simultaneously capitalizing on knocking out the monster as often as possible for large damage windows. First of all, you're going to want to utilize the Flash in the Night Sword and Shield, which is crafted using materials gained by hunting the Nargacuga. This is by far the best choice for this build because of the massive plus 30% affinity and white sharpness that comes standard with the weapon. Its high affinity makes up for its relatively low raw damage, which can also be mitigated by taking the Attack Boost 3 ramp up skill, which adds a solid 8 damage to the weapon. You may be tempted to go with Affinity Boost 2 instead, as critical damage is the focus of this build, but based on the skills granted by the rest of this armor set, that affinity is mostly wasted. Next, you have both the Zinogre Helm S and Zinogre Mail S, which each provide 1 level of latent power and 1 level of weakness exploit. These skills are absolutely vital to your build, as latent power increases affinity and decreases stamina depletion when active, and weakness exploit massively increases your affinity when targeting a monster's weak spots. You will also want to craft yourself the Rathalos Braces S, which will grant you 2 levels of attack boost and a level 2 decoration slot. To pair with this, you're also going to want to craft the Anjanath Coil S, granting another 2 levels of attack boost while also providing a level 2 decoration slot as well as 2 level 1 decoration slots. For your last armor piece, you should go with the Golden Hakama, which is crafted by materials gained by hunting the Rajang. These leggings provide an additional level of latent power as well as 2 levels of critical boost, increasing both your affinity and critical damage. When it comes to your pedalace, it's largely up to personal preference, but I suggest going for the Underworld pedalace as this provides a large bonus to your damage and stamina. Now, for my build, I was fortunate enough to get a talisman with 3 levels of Slugger and 1 level of Counterstrike with a level 2 decoration slot and level 1 slot as well. However, I suspect that this talisman is quite hard to get. But worry not, because there is a slightly simpler version of the build where you would trade the Rathalos Braces S for Anjanath Vambraces S for the additional 2 levels of Slugger. In this simpler build, all you would need is a talisman with 1 level of weakness exploit, which is easy to obtain. To finish my build with the Slugger 3 talisman, you will need a Tenderizer Jewel 2, Critical Jewel 2, and 2 Counter Jewel 2s. You will also need 3 Steadfast Jewel 1s, 3 Grinder Jewel 1s, and a Brace Jewel 1. This will give you a grand total of Attack Boost 4, Crit Boost 4, Weakness Exploit 3, Latent Power 3, Slugger 3, Stun Resistance 3, Speed Sharpening 3, Counter Strike Free, and Flinch Free 1. For the simpler build with a Weakness Exploit 1 talisman, you will need a Critical Jewel 2 and a KO Jewel 2. Your level 1 decorations are up to personal preference and dependent on how many slots you have on your talisman, but I do highly recommend Steadfast and Grinder Jewels for stun resistance and speed sharpening, as well as a Brace Jewel. The only major difference between the 2 builds is that the simpler version is going to lack Counter-Strike 3, but this is more of a bonus than a necessity in practice. Whew, that's a lot of stats and numbers, but how does all of this translate into your hunts? Well, using this build results in a high damage and high critical chance build that generates its own windows of opportunity by knocking out the monster as often as possible. To complement this playstyle, I highly recommend taking the Hard Basher combo, Sliding Slash, and Metsu Shorigeki for your switch skills, as these give you the most KO potential while also maintaining the small amount of white sharpness of the Flash of Night by attacking mostly with your shield. The rest of this video is going to feature an example hunt using this exact build. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. And if you have any questions, also be sure to leave a comment, and I'll try and get back to it as soon as possible. Also be sure to check out my channel on Twitch, where I regularly stream Monster Hunter Rise and hunt with viewers. I also have a Discord where you can chat with fellow hunters and organize hunting parties. The link for both of these is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, enjoy the hunt, and I wish you well on your next glorious gecko adventure.
でも爆破できるわよ。